I had the extreme honor of meeting Garth Riley years ago, and we became fast friends. And now I have the further honor to be able to sit here and interview him so that we can get a bit of an idea as to what his resume is, but as a resVIEWme, a video resume, so that people can actually get a little bit more than just what's flat on a page and find out what makes Garth so dynamic, and certainly someone who has been very challenging for and wonderful to know as a friend. And Garth, thank you for speaking with us today.
Well, challenging and wonderful as a friend.
Yes.
Yeah. Why would you say? I'm asking you. Why am I challenging? Because I push.
Oh, I think the best friends are those that challenge you to become better people,
Yeah.
and not just by being better people themselves.
Yeah.
So
well, cool.
I think it's
yeah,
pretty
that's
wonderful.
true. I think we're symbiotic, so this is kind of fun.
You're a dynamic dude, and I know that a lot of people out there would like to know what makes you tick and where did you come from, what have you done, and so if you can give us a bit of information as to, I know that your background started in the event business.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the best way to say. I mean, I had worked in the restaurant industry, which is really the event business when you think about
Sure.
it. It's funny, and it's sort of there's the event piece. But I was always sort of figuring out how we could always get more sales. As a kid, I was always selling stuff. I was always had the Kool-Aid stand. I was always trying to figure out how to make a buck. One summer when I was a kid, when I was 16 or 17, I said, could I have 3 summer jobs? Could I fit a 4th one in? And all my friends thought that was nuts. So it was kind of driven that way a bit. But when I go, the event industry was amazing because I had a disc jockey business. And I started that because in high school, I used to do, took my guitar amplifier and would do sock hops. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't happy in life. I thought I wanted to be a DJ, so I borrowed some money against my house. And at the age of 28, started my own disc jockey company. And that
Wow.
really, we took off from there.
Now, clearly, that's where you honed a lot of your skills as far as socially. I mean, you're amazing with people, and people love talking to you.
Yeah.
You can work a room, and you're a great MC. Now, how did that transition you into becoming the TV radio personality that we now know you to be?
That's funny. Well, I think being in front of a mixed audience, whether they're corporate or whether they're people in the local bar or pub, and we were very successful at it. I mean, I not only was myself, but I ended up having 2 or 3 crews that went out. And what happened was that if you're doing something 5 nights a week, either you're good at it or you're so cheap they can't replace you. I would rather say I was good at it, and I wasn't charging enough. But that's where I cut my teeth. And the corporation started to notice. Molson, as it were, was one of the first one that kind of noticed my personality, and then we kind of went from there.
So did you know that could transition into TV and radio? Was that something
No idea. So here's what happened. I was one of the first guys to bring mobile karaoke to Southern Ontario. I've been a disc jockey. I started it when I was 28, and then I saw this thing called karaoke, and I thought, wow, this would be fun and fantastic. And then I brought it here, and really nobody was doing it. And I called a buddy of mine, and he said, I'll give you 4 gigs at $200 a day. And so I went and spent $16,000 I didn't have. Anyways, but what happened from that is we started to morph this thing, which we know karaoke to be huge today. But I met a guy from Molson's, and Molson's gave me a chance to get a platform in front of corporations like Kelsey's and Sir Corp. And then I just noticed that all my personality started to come forward. And then a guy I was working with was doing a gig on CIUT radio, University of Toronto radio, and he said to me, "Come on, and you'll do something there." And I said, "Okay." I came out there. I was horrible at it. And then I thought, what am I going to do? I mean, I really like this idea of being in radio, but and I realized that radio guys didn't make any money, so that was kind of a problem. But then Jesse and Jean, this is what interesting. They were talking about wanting to meet people, and I thought, I'm going to do something. So one of the guys that I worked with, Zach Church was his name. We were funny as heck in the nightclub bar scene, and we cut these ditties using karaoke tracks. And we drive them down to CFTR and try and get to Jesse and Jean at 4 in the morning before they would get there. They wouldn't see us. And then we went on to a listener's cruise, and we walked up and we started throwing tapes at these guys. And they phoned us the next morning and said, "You guys are amazing. Do some more for us." They never paid us.
Right.
But that's kind of how it started, right?
Oh, that's cool. Well, I mean, you have such a great presence, and your voice obviously can carry itself so well on radio. So down the road, you start doing your own show for Rogers Television.
Yeah.
And that was how many years?
I started September 11th.
Wow.
9/11.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, my second show was 9/11. I didn't go to school for broadcast. I'd heard about this opening. I auditioned with 20 other people for a talk local show. They wanted someone that was kind of like Howard Stern. I guess I had a big enough nose. And all of a sudden, they said you want to be outrageous and everything else, and then they didn't really want that. But that's how I started. And then we found that my personality carried on even further. My friends who knew me from the bar and entertainment industry thought I would be funny. But this was a serious show, and they would phone me. They phone me like, "When are you gonna be funny, Riley?" And I said, "There's nothing funny about 9/11."
Yeah.
So that's when I cut my teeth. But then I guess 1,000 guests later, here I am.
Well, and I mean, to me, what's always been so fascinating about you is your ability to, yes, be funny, but also to be able to push the boundaries and really know topics the way that only you can know a topic, to be able to draw out of people what you really want to find out, what the audience really wants to find out. And I've certainly always been so impressed by that.
Thanks. I don't know how it happened.
Well, it's fascinating, and so from there, you've obviously you know so many people, and you talk to so many people, and you are so involved in so many different things. But you have some real passions that you're behind. Can you tell us a bit about some of those things?
Well, make the story short. I was bullied as a kid. A lot of people don't understand that. Lots of domestic issues in my family, and I created this program called the Permission Slip, which was designed after a lot of years doing self-help and reading books, but I thought I could shortcut the people finding their way to getting past their stuff. And along the way, one lady said to me, "Why don't you teach us the kids?" And then I started talking to kids, and I thought, well, how do you talk to kids unless you relate the story? And I really went back in my life and said, wow. So I started using it. Now, almost 40,000 kids later, we have this program. It's called Sticks and Stones May Break My Bones. We talk to kids. We ask them to put down their biggest fears and concerns, and we use this sort of system that was created, I call it downloaded to me. And the results are, in the words of these kids, how it changed their life. So,
well, I can certainly attest to, I had the privilege of sitting in the audience of one of your school presentations, and it's quite shocking to see how you at 6, 7, these kids look at you and think, well, there's not a chance that that person ever was bullied. And when they hear those words come out of your mouth and how wonderfully you draw them in, it really, I think it changes a lot of their lives, I'm sure.
We've heard it does, so it's been a blessing to do it.
That's wonderful. Now, some of the other things that you've been involved in, that actually the way that we met was through some of the face factor stuff that you do, and I found it truly fascinating. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so face reading. I interviewed a gentleman named Herman Mueller. I was fascinated by his skill set. I was fascinated how he could use an ancient art from Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine, and I studied with him. I thought this would help people like no tomorrow. So what I did was I studied with him, and with his permission, I morphed it into using this tool to help people recognize their potential, not about their hurts or wounds, but to see what their potential was. And we now have this thing called the Face Factor. We now have corporate training. We teach kids how to do it. We teach adults how to do it. I do it for corporate entertainment, where I go and or a private party, and people are now fascinated because people can see so much about themselves.
Well, and how wonderful it is as a corporate tool for people to be able to relate to one another and hire the right people in the first place. That's wonderful. Well, thanks so much for telling us.
You know what? That was just my personality.
You.
That was just my personality blowing away.
It was.
You're welcome. You did a good
Thanks
job.
so much. Thank you.
You did a good job. Thanks.